Hey, business owners, we know you know the importance of maximizing every dollar. With the Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business American Express card, you can make your expenses work just as hard as you. From afternoon coffee runs to stocking office supplies and even team dinners, you can earn miles on all your business expenses. Plus, you can earn 125,000 bonus miles for a limited time through October 29th. The Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business Card. If you travel, you know. Minimum spending requirements and terms apply. Offer ends October 29th, 2025.
Reality radio for a really great future. We're talking real money.
Right up front, before we do anything else, let me just share this phone number with you so we can get it out of the way and you can pick up the phone and you can call us and ask us some questions on Labor Day weekend. 855-935-TALK. That's it, 855-935-8255. It's so easy. Call us. We'll try to help you manage money better than you're doing right now. Or maybe we're just going to tell you you're doing it perfectly and you never need to listen again.
That happens a lot, yeah.
Unlikely, but it could happen. 855-935-8255. I'm Don McDonald, along with Tom Cock, an old man in an old hat. That is an old,
I love this hat.
Old hat. That is the Don McDonald Show hat, and that was dated.
When?
That was dated probably 93, I'm thinking.
Okay, yeah.
1993.
So we were pals then, but the thing is, my holiday involves cleaning out the garage, as I mentioned recently, and part of that was going through boxes from the previous house, which had been in there since a year ago. And I opened the box up, I'm like, hey, I love that hat. So there it is. It's out, and I'm using it now.
We wish you a Merry Labor Day and a nice clean garage.
Exactly, because you'll need it soon.
Yeah, I need to do lots of that stuff. I'm not going to. 855-935-8255 is our phone number. We read stuff all the time about money, and I read, oh my gosh, every day I probably read about 10 or 12 financial articles, maybe more. And I read one the other day in a publication that I used to really like. Years ago, I really liked Forbes magazine. I don't anymore. But they did a piece on passive investing and whether or not it's creating a bubble in the stock market.
It's distorting the stock market.
Yeah. Because so much money is going into passive funds that is the market really doing what it's supposed to do, which is find a balance between supply and demand, between buyers and sellers. If everybody's just buying the index, are they really making any choices and saying this company's better than that company? Or
they're saying that price discovery is not working, that stock prices are just now a matter of supply and demand, money coming in, money going out. There isn't anybody, as you said, sort of analyzing things.
However, still, to this day, over half of the money in mutual funds in the U.S. is actively managed.
Which we're talking about here. We're talking about people that are picking stocks or timing markets or using sectors or trends or all these things that suggest they'd like you to believe that they know something about that's going to happen Tuesday that you do not know.
And the likelihood that all of those smarter than you people are going to admit they're not smarter than you is pretty low. They are not likely to suddenly go, you're right, indexing and passive investing works. I'm not gonna try and pick stocks or get in or get out at certain times. That's not likely to happen. Even if more of you are buying index or passive style products every day, we're still a long way from people giving up on their belief that there are smarter people picking stocks.
Well, according to this piece, it's still, in their words, passive only makes up 20% of the global assets under management.
Overseas, there is still that pervasive belief that people are smarter than the market. In the U.S., we've kind of got it down. But this article, though, drifted off into some territory that I wanted to highlight. Because this is indicative of the active fund cheerleaders. They say, oh, now it's a better time for active than it's ever been before. Or active isn't doing...
Stock pickers market.
Yeah, stock pickers market. Or active isn't doing as badly as they say. In this article, they said, according to Morningstar's active passive barometer in March of 2024, that 42% of active funds beat their active peers
their passive peers.
Their passive peers in 2024. Now, that's 1 year, and 42% won. Wait a minute, doesn't that mean that 58% lost?
That's good math. Yes, I think you can stick with that.
And that's over 1 year. How did they do over 10 or 15 or 20 years? I'll tell you when we get back. 855-935-TALK.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Do you suffer from financial flinch reflex? Hi, I'm Don McDonald, and financial flinch reflex, or FFR, is a widespread condition triggered by watching too much financial news and not having a solid retirement plan. Common symptoms include doom scrolling, yelling at your portfolio, and considering gold bars, crypto, or your brother-in-law's startup. Markets don't cause panic. Not having a plan for them does. The best treatment? A real financial plan, one that's based on your life, not the latest headlines. And yes, we're talking to you, future retiree. Start your financial calming regimen today with a free, no-pressure meeting with an Appella advisor at TalkingRealMoney.com or call 800-386-3004. That's TalkingRealMoney.com, because a plan is the antidote to panic. Side effects of planning may include peace of mind, smarter investing, and fewer late-night CNBC binges. Please plan responsibly. Appella is an SEC-registered investment advisor. See AppellaWealth.com or the firm's Form ADV for more details.
Your guides to a really great financial future. Tom and Don are talking real money.
Well, Forbes made a mistake. They said that was a March 24 study. It was through December 31st, 2024.
That they looked at the performance of the passive versus
right, and that
active,
they said active. They're saying, well, active didn't do that badly. They did over 40% successful. Yeah, okay. Well, let's drill down, shall we, Tom?
That was 1 year.
1 year, yeah.
1 year.
Now,
okay.
U.S. large growth, that's pretty similar to the S&P 500. So let's use that.
Generally speaking, yes.
Let's use that. 1 year, U.S. large growth, according to Morningstar, through December 31st, 2024, 40.3%, 1 year. 40.3% outperformed the benchmark. So 60%.
So 4 out of 10 did better than.
Yes. Good job, you guys. You didn't do as horribly as we thought. Well, unless we look at 3 years.
Okay.
And then only 17.7% beat their index.
So it's less than half when you work between 1 and 3 years.
5 years. 8.2%.
Yikes.
Wait, it gets worse. 10 years, 2.5%.
Wait, you got to pick the right 2 out of 100?
Uh-huh.
That's the problem.
15 years. Oh, wait. 15 or 20 years, once you get out to 15 or 20, it's exactly the same.
Which is more, I think 20 years would be honest in a way, because that's more like a period of investing that people can really pay attention to. I think that's fair. Yeah.
1 out of 100 beat the benchmark. 1
just not
out of 100.
Yeah.
So should you own actively managed funds for the long haul? Not if you want to outperform.
No, and okay, but there's a couple other things here that you didn't mention. 9 straight years, more money's poured into passive funds than have into active funds.
Gee, that's probably why.
Yeah, probably why. Another one to look at is I often go back and look at kind of when I got started in this industry with our friend Paul Merriman in 1997. 1 out of $20 was invested passively or index style. Today,
that's true.
In the United States, 1 out of 2.
Wow.
So again, people have voted with their feet. But here's the problem generally, because all of us want to be above average, right? Above average drivers, above average students, above average lovers, just all.
Okay, so far you've named all of my above average traits. Yeah,
I'm 1 out of 3 there, but okay, so take your pick. The thing is, so when you go to people and you tell them, well, you're just going to accept what the market provides.
Oh,
people
boring.
They think, no, that's not investing.
That's mediocrity.
Because investing is hiring the person that can do it better than that. That's the rub. So, and people forget that, again, over the long haul, stocks are provided somewhere around 10% a year. Bonds are provided somewhere around 5% a year. Mm-hmm. Is that enough when you combine the two? Well, for most people, yes. But it sounds, as you said, mediocre.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting. Over 10 years, I gave you the 2.5% outperform.
Yeah.
But if it was in the lowest cost segment of that market,
the cheaper ones,
the cheaper ones outperformed 4.5% of the time.
And this is another part that people forget, that costs do matter.
And the highest cost only 1.2% of the time.
Yeah. By the way, I find it fascinating that what was the period of time where the 1%? That's 20 years?
Yes, 15 years, 15 to 20.
Same percentage of people. Remember in the Revolutionary War, but the number, that's 1% is how often people got hit by bullets. 1 out of 100.
If you can call those things bullets.
Whatever they were.
Balls of lead.
Balls, yeah. They were not going through round.
I wouldn't have wanted to be one of the 1 out of 100.
No,
though.
it's still bad. I'll give you that. But I would have been going, come on, go ahead and shoot me. There's not 100 of you.
I was wondering how Tom would get war history in American war history.
Because that number still fascinates me, 1 out of 100. So,
855-935-TALK. That's our holiday phone number. It's the same on every other day, too. But call us on Saturdays, 855-935-8255, just like our good friend Jason did in Sammamish. Hey, Jason.
Good afternoon, guys. Thank you for taking the call. Just wanted to talk today about data independence. And obviously we had the firing a month or so ago of the Bureau of Labor Statistics Commissioner, which I think I chatted with you about that at the time. Yeah. And now we have another effort to kind of monkey around with the Fed with this potential removal of the governor. So I guess I want to ask you what your thoughts are when, and with the CPE and PC, with these numbers that come out, these are provided by the government. What happens when they start turning south and the administration doesn't like, and we can't trust any of the data, and Wall Street, can't trust the data that's coming from the government? What then do we do as investors? Because I know we want to be invested in everything, but how is the broader market going to handle when we can't trust the source of the data?
Jason, you insist on trying to drag us kicking and screaming into the political arena. You're really trying to make us go there.
You notice I didn't mention any politicians.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't have to, because we know who's firing everybody. And for what reason he's firing everybody. I mean, it would take a really seriously dumb person to not see why he's firing these people. He's firing these people to make his policies look better.
Yeah.
Period.
Well, no, to enact his policy. I mean, it comes the Federal Reserve. I mean, to basically enact his policy of dramatic interest rate cuts.
Yeah.
He's clearly stated that.
Here's what's going to happen. Wait,
you know what's going to happen?
Well, if he does get his way and he lowers interest rates, the stock market is going to go, yay, hooray,
for a short time. And then,
then inflation will go up.
As soon as you see inflation turn that will be, I'll tell you that, it'll be dramatic, and it'll be down, and it'll be fast.
However, I truly believe, as a student of American history, as is Tom, that this kind of stupidity in America and globally is pendular. It's cyclical.
It happens.
The pendulum swings way too far to the right, and then way too far to the left, and then way too far to the right again. And we tend to bring ourselves back into some semblance of stasis in between those wild swings. We are in, I believe, and this is merely based on my many years of reading about this and studying it, I think we're in a period of extreme that the electorate is eventually going to say, okay, yeah, we had reasons, but there are actual facts that maybe we should try to believe.
Yeah, I will say it this way. Two things. Number one, I don't know in the long haul all these silly games will change the big picture value of stocks. They'll go down, they'll go up. I mean, but remember, these are still companies at the end of the day that are reporting earnings, potential growth, that kind of thing. That's one. Number two, completely agree with Don, finally. The Republic will stand. It'll take this. It won't be pleasant, I think, in many ways, but we will move on. That's my take.
It won't be pleasant. It isn't pleasant.
Well, depending again on where you are.
I got to tell you, there are even some of the people I know who were supporters of the president who are going, wait a minute, this is not what I was expecting.
Well, front page of the Wall Street Journal today said he's firing some of the people that he just brought in last few months. So I don't know.
Just one final question, guys.
Yeah.
So if he does, get his interest rate cuts, which we know he's seeking, and we do see inflation rise, but then, do you think he'll try to then cover up the inflation numbers? Like, I'm just worried that he's going to he's going to
I think so.
over every continuing.
But Jason, we are the consumers. You can lie to us and tell us that inflation is only 2.5%.
Sure.
But as happened with the election, if I go into the store and eggs are $10 a dozen instead of $4, I feel it. And inflation is something you read about, but really you feel more than you learn it.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Raise the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. Start converting your B2B audience today. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started today at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
For your real life and real future, Tom and Don are talking real money.
All right, all of those of you who call the show on the weekends and kind of keep us going and make it more fun for us, you should be feeling very badly that you haven't called. 855-935-TALK, 855-935-8255. But thankfully for you, we have some nice listeners who picked up the slack by going to talkingrealmoney.com and clicking on the Contact Us button and then typing a question to make Tom's day when they show up in his inbox printed on, you know what he actually uses? Paper. Honest paper.
Anachronism, but we're going to do it anyway. Daniel is one of those kind souls from Paulsbo, Washington. He writes, a few months ago, a person called into the radio show and the TSP was discussed. That's the Thrift Savings Plan. That's the retirement plan for federal employees. Tom mentioned he didn't think TSP had a good international offering. I don't think he was aware that in late 2024, TSP dramatically increased their international sector holdings by a significant multitude. I'm hoping that perhaps you could, on the air, talk about the TSP. Take note that we now have a decent international sector available. On a side note, I continue with my Apple review comment that Tom is still not funny. We read everything. We're putting it all out there for you.
Well, okay, and you, sir, are absolutely right. They have the lovely iFund in the TSP now.
But you know what they added at the end of last year to the iFund?
Well, what did they?
That's what he's talking about. Yeah, they added emerging markets.
Okay, they added emerging to the iFund.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, he was saying that I thought he said they didn't have international.
He said I didn't like the international fund, which I always said I don't love it because it only has developed markets.
Oh, got
They
it.
added emerging markets. They've added like 6,000 stocks, a ton of stocks, because when you don't have emerging markets, you're missing some pretty significant and important, places.
Yeah, it now follows the MSCI All Country World Index.
Yeah.
Ex-U.S., ex-China, ex-Hong Kong.
Yeah. I don't know why it took them so long to do this, but you're absolutely right, Daniel. It's a pretty decent fund. The challenge you still run into the TSP, again, is, yes, this is good.
Mm-hmm. You can't do value.
U.S.
You can't overweight value.
You don't have very much small in value in the portfolio. We've run the numbers before. It's a pretty small number.
Well, you have the S fund.
In terms of the percentage.
You can add the S fund in.
But that doesn't have much value in it.
No, I was going to say, but you can get value now. You can get emerging. You can get international. You can get large cap.
No, you can get small. You said value.
I'm sorry,
small.
Value you can get small international. Yeah, I missed
that.
But so all you have to do is have the TSP for the bulk of your investment, and then in your Roth IRA or your regular IRA or even your brokerage account, get an ETF that is small cap value. an international small value, an international large value, and get value.
And those of you who say don't want to own international small cap value, well, then you're missing out on a 33% return year to date.
Wow, is it that big?
33%. I just looked at it this morning. Yeah,
in just
incredible.
8 months.
And that's not a reason to buy it. The reason to buy it is those are a specific type of stocks that you should have exposure to.
Yeah, the reason to buy it is that you should have bought it before. And
exactly. You should own it.
It's another opportunity for Tom and Don to tell you, we told you so. We told you for years and years you should have international, you should have small cap, you should have value, you should have emerging, you should have all of these in your portfolio, and you still persist in going, well, yeah, but they didn't do very well. Well, they don't do well right up until they do well, and the others that do well until they don't do well.
Yeah. And Daniel, just for the record, I have a teenage daughter. I don't need you to tell me I'm not funny, okay? I get that right here at home.
She does that every day, thank God.
Eye rolling, walking away.
Well, not only do you have your co-host who rolls his eyes every time.
I can't see them.
By the way, I do have another commercial I was working on.
Oh, good.
I'm not going to read it to you.
I like the first one.
But one of the lines is that, when you leave your meeting at Appella, we'll send you on your way with a high five and maybe a dad joke.
Good point.
I'm putting it in the spot.
I always start every meeting with a dad joke. That's a tester to see who you really are. If you got a little sense of humor or not, and we know right then.
Well, no, actually, you don't, because your jokes are so bad.
Well, I'll give you one of my favorite openers. I always give people my business card, and I say, that card is good for a free latte at participating Starbucks. And they always go, whoa. And I go, the participating Starbucks. I understand there's like 30,000 of them. There's only a few that will honor that. So
no,
that
means
find out if
none.
They funny or not.
None.
I'm probably closer to the number, correct.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Introducing the perfect companion to your morning listening routine. AG1's clinically backed formula is now flavor-packed with 3 new delicious flavors: tropical, berry, and citrus. Start the day on a high note with probiotics that taste like the tropics. Mix it up with micronutrients that taste like berry or citrus. And take it all the way back with the classic, AG1 Original, with notes of pineapple and vanilla. Do your health a flavor, or 4, with AG1 Next Gen, the daily health drink. Learn more at drinkag1.com.
Reality radio for a really great future. We're talking real money.
By sharing your card humor, you've now destroyed it for all future meetings.
I don't think so, because people don't listen that carefully.
Yeah, they don't listen. It's funny.
Well, kind of.
Speaking of listening, the only way to hear shows like this for most of our career was on the radio.
Yeah,
like we are right now. We're on the radio, on being broadcast over the electronic airwaves.
Amplitude modulation.
And frequency modulation, too.
That's true. We're on the FM band as well.
Yeah. Uh-huh. But, it turns out that a lot of people are listening over the internet.
Yeah.
A lot. As a matter of fact, we got a ton of calls that just came in, and not one of them is from the Seattle metro area.
Well, maybe they're saving their money so they can buy a $16,800 ticket to see Leo Messi play tomorrow night.
Pretty in pink.
Look that up. That's what I was showing you.
Pretty in pink.
$16,578.
That's a lot of money to go see a sporting event.
It is.
855-935-TALK is the number that so many people have already called. Thank you for doing it. Let's start in Spokane. Well, let's move on to Spokane. Susie, welcome to the show.
Hi there. Thanks, you guys. I've learned a lot from your show. I was just wondering what your thoughts are on long-term care insurance.
Hard to get.
Yeah, I mean, what are our thoughts? As Don would very kindly say, it depends, because it depends on how much money you have. It depends on what it's going to cost you. It depends on, whether it's just you or one other person in your life. There's a lot of factors. And as Don also correctly pointed out, it's expensive. To buy a premium type policy where you're just paying, renting it, if you will, in a way, basically impossible today. You're going to have to buy a hybrid of some kind.
You can do it. No, the premium based policy.
Not many, though.
How old are you first? That's really important. I hate to ask, but it's important.
I'm 61.
You're in the age now where the prices are getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
The
but
older,
if you had assets, you could still probably do a hybrid policy where you give them
those hybrids,
a certain amount.
They're here's the deal.
I'm not saying I favor them. I'm just saying that's an option.
I've done the math dozens of times, and the reality is the benefits they pay out today are negligible. They usually have some sort of a max at about. Many of the policies, they're about $150,000 to $200,000, and once you pass that, you don't get any benefits anymore. They pay $100 a day. The benefits are so small that it starts to look attractive to put away $200,000 that you can use if you don't end up in a nursing home.
Well, and to add to that, Susie, the reality is, had you been looking at this a decade ago, might have worked out. At 61, far more difficult.
Yeah. It's not going to make much financial sense.
When you say hybrid policy, when you say hybrid policy, you mean like a life insurance with a long-term care rider?
Or where you give them a set amount, and then they pay basically the premium out of that, and then you'll use that money if you need it, and if you don't use it, a certain amount will come back to your heirs, for example.
But basically, it's a life insurance. It's still a life insurance policy with a long-term care rider or an annuity. Basically, what Tom's talking about is an annuity with a long-term care rider, but that's the two big ones now. But again, you're still putting your money into something that tends not to make money and has a very small benefit most of the time, unless you get to like $1 million in the policy. So I personally, everything we do when it comes to insurance is a bet. You're betting with the insurance company, and they know the odds better than you do. So personally, I'm betting that I can cover most of my needs, and if I don't, then Medicaid steps in.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Do you suffer from financial flinch reflex? Hi, I'm Don McDonald, and financial flinch reflex, or FFR, is a widespread condition triggered by watching too much financial news and not having a solid retirement plan. Common symptoms include doom scrolling, yelling at your portfolio, and considering gold bars, crypto, or your brother-in-law's startup. Markets don't cause panic. Not having a plan for them does. The best treatment? A real financial plan. One that's based on your life, not the latest headlines. And yes, we're talking to you, future retiree. Start your financial calming regimen today with a free, no-pressure meeting with an Appella advisor at TalkingRealMoney.com or call 800-386-3004. That's TalkingRealMoney.com, because a plan is the antidote to panic. Side effects of planning may include peace of mind, smarter investing, and fewer late-night CNBC binges. Please plan responsibly. Appella is an SEC-registered investment advisor. See AppellaWealth.com or the firm's Form ADV for more details.
Your guides to a really great financial future. Tom and Don are talking real money.
During the break, I did a little bit more research, actually trying to find some real numbers on long-term care. For a 60-year-old woman, a pretty basic long-term care policy paying out about a max of $150,000 in benefits at $100 a month. Total. That's when they and that's the problem.
A day.
Is they max you out. They're not going to.
They say that's not.
They're not going to take care of you.
Then why not just have 150 in the bank?
That's what I was saying. It's about $1,900 a year for a 60-year-old. Now, bearing in mind that you typically go into long-term care in your 80s. That's the typical time for
long-term care. Typically is not long-term either, by the way.
Yeah. If you invested that money, you would have, at 6% in a balanced portfolio, you'd have about $100,000 at 85. So it's a gamble. You can, for example, you could get a lump sum hybrid policy for $90,000 at age 60. And
what's that going to pay you?
It would pay you up to $460,000 in long-term benefits.
Wow, substantially more.
$6,400 a month, but that's $90,000 out of your pocket today, forever.
Yeah, this always comes back to how you feel about insurance in general, right? Because you're not an insurance guy. I still have a lot of insurance. I don't love writing the checks, but I just feel bad because I've got a younger daughter. Something bad happens and she's going to need the money.
But the long-term care thing is a little tricky because there is a backstop. It's not a nice backstop, but it's a backstop, and that is Medicaid. You have to be broke.
Yeah, you got to spend it down.
But there is a safety net so that you don't just die in the gutter.
And the reason we can be somewhat smug about this is we're both older than the typical retirement age, and our opportunity for continued employment appears strong, other than the first hour of the show today. But other than that, it's
if you base it on phone calls,
that's what I'm saying. So anyway,
855-935-TALK. That's our number on Saturdays. Let's go to Los Altos, California. Speaking of the Bay Area. Hey, Susie, welcome to Talking Real Money. Hi.
Oh, this is Los Altos, but this is Maya, not Susie.
Oh, Maya. It says Susie on my screen. He messed up. It's okay. Bad. Hi, Maya.
Okay. Hi there. So I have a question about what you think of the book Die with Zero, which I recently read. And I was particularly struck by the information that most people receive inheritances in their 60s when the funds don't really make much of a difference in their life. Whereas if they got that in their late 20s or 30s, it would have a much bigger impact. But the book in general seems to contradict a lot of other financial advice.
Like what? What other advice? Because I love the book.
You read the book?
I read the book.
Well,
I haven't read the book.
I give people the book from time to time.
To save everything and to not give to your children early, for example, to save it in your own account.
Yeah. Okay. So, a couple things. First of all, let's make sure that we present the thesis of the book, which is saving everything and not spending it, not living your life fully and then handing people this gift after you're gone is not the best way to take care of your money. The better way is, as you said, Maya, to do this as you go, right? Which some people can afford to do. By the way, the guy who wrote the book I think it was a hedge fund guy that has $1 gazillion. So he's very easily can say, look, I gave this money. Didn't he have a big birthday party too that cost $1 million, whatever it was. So he can do this more easily than most of us can. But in a general sense, I happen to agree with the overall thought that your life should be lived to leave others a lot of money. I mean, unless you have some horrible guilt complex, which Don could certainly associate with, but
I don't, and I don't care. I'm not leaving them anything. My goal is to actually die with my last check to Duke Energy bouncing.
That's my line. Okay. First, this is always tricky because remember the last call was about long-term care, right? So that's a person who's saying, hey, I want to make sure I'm going to be okay at the end of my life. And this book is saying, well, quit worrying about that so much and give away whatever you can while your kids really need it in their 20s and 30s. But no, I favor the book. I like the overall tenor of it. I think for many people, and this gets back to your attitude about money, it's reasonable.
For wealthier people.
Exactly. No, that's fair.
Not many.
That can afford to do
wealthier.
it. Yeah.
Because it's a fact that the majority of Americans don't have more than $100,000 in their retirement funds.
That's true.
And what that points out is that this is a niche-y little book.
It is.
It really is. It is not applicable generally because the vast majority of older Americans are struggling to have enough to pay for as we talked about, their health care in retirement.
I think that's fair. Again, and so most of the people that I talk to are people who have saved, right? Because they don't come and see us if they have nothing. So Don's right. It's a smaller number, but those are the people that we deal with because they've been savers and investors for a long period of time. But, and by the way, I feel like I live this because I pay for vacations. I try to do things where everybody gets together and hangs out as a family, which I think is extremely valuable. So does that answer your question? So yes, I do agree with it.
Okay, so I think you're saying if you can afford to live this way, so if you don't have to worry about your future retirement or your future health care because you have sufficient assets, then yes, go ahead and spend now and gift now.
Yep, If you got it, if you can sit down and run a budget that says, okay, if the worst case scenario happens and I'm in my 80s and I have to spend 10 years in a nursing home, will I be able to pay my own way rather than going on the dole with the government? Then give more money away. But here's the fact, and I just looked this up. 58% of 65-year-old or older Americans have $100,000 or less in their retirement savings.
That would not be, they don't need to read this book. We'll give them that. Yeah.
So,
all right. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for calling. Yeah.
And by the way, Don's kids, if you're listening, well, you get the message. So
they know the message. But I mean, and I am now for the first time, we've talked about this. Debbie and I have talked about this. And you too. Most of my adult life, I struggled.
No, and by the way, going back even further, when you were a young person. See, now we come from people don't know this. I grew up in a very middle class, comfortable sort of environment. So money was not paramount to me as it might have been to you in a younger age. I think that develops your money attitudes completely.
Yeah.
Sure.
But the fact is now I can afford to do that. Thank God.
Yeah.
But if my life had gone the way it went for most of it, I would still be struggling to save for retirement.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
The spirit of innovation is deeply ingrained in America, and Google is helping Americans innovate in ways both big and small. From improving emergency response times to protecting against cyber attacks, local, state, and federal governments are innovating with Google AI. This is a new era of American innovation. Find out more at g.co/American Innovation.
Hey, everybody, I'm Don, that's Tom, and thank you for listening to us either on the radio or on our podcast that we'll be putting up later in the week. Let's go, finally, for the day, to Americus, Georgia. Paul, welcome to the program.
Hey, Paul, what's up?
Well, I was going to follow up my long-term care thing with Mutual of Omaha, and you guys kind of talked about it earlier, but pretty much the guy just went through this blah, blah, blah about renting versus owning and how you want to own things like a home. And when it all came down to it, I talked a little bit about self-insurance. He told me I was pretty much an idiot for trying to self-insure.
Well, he's selling insurance.
And when I said, yeah, well, and I told him, I said, well, I just read an article about a guy that used to own a lot of insurance. His name was Charlie Munger, and he recommended self-insurance. And
wait, he's from Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. No, I mean, he lives in Omaha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty successful guy, too, yeah.
Yeah, but pretty much their whole answer was he kept saying, own something. And it's a whole life insurance thing, and he wouldn't give me any solid numbers. He said he wanted to do a Zoom call and meet my wife. And I said, I don't need to do that. I just need numbers. But it kind of goes back to what you guys were talking about earlier with, I think her name was Susie, that it's you just kind of put some money aside and do it yourself. And it was kind of, I felt like it was a wasted time to deal with this insurance person, but I said something about, well, my retirement could pay for some of that. He said, no, you can't do that because you'll have to pay taxes on that money. I said, well, it's deductible. He said, no, it's not. It's just like,
yeah, it is.
You guys talk about, particularly Don, about a lot of times people selling insurance, if they're talking their line, or you didn't say that exactly, but some of that.
I did kind of, yeah.
But,
yeah.
The reality is that everything, that all of us, the insurance companies, Wall Street, individual investors, whomever it might be, universities, we're all drawing down the same kind of return on our money. It's all going to be really similar. So they can't do anything more magical than you can do. They're just shifting the responsibility for worst case scenarios to them in some way, but they've got all kinds of ways out of that worst case scenario, like the maximum benefit calculation, things like that. So consider what their purpose is. The Mutual of Omaha guy is trying to make a sale.
Yeah, I think you've nailed that, Paul, and you've got it all down. And again, it sounds like you've made a decision that is going to be good for you and good for your family.
And then just watch.
So. And by the way, I think the reason a lot of people aren't listening is calling it as much today is college football.
Dang, college football! I knew there was something going on.
Yeah, okay. You mean that game
I'm mad at
ads and everything?
My team played last night, so therefore I was able to listen to the show today. So.
You know, if they're all watching that Arch Manning kid.
That's over.
Is it over? Did he lose?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he lost.
Oh.
Yeah.
It turned out he was not the second coming. The Wall Street Journal made it sound like yesterday, holy cow, look at this guy. So I watched a little bit. It's like, he looks rather average, like one of those young college players that without a lot of experience. So not shocked.
Well, I know we're running out of time, but I did get a new dryer today, and I know you always like to talk about laundry, but I got a new dryer today.
Tom, it's another red letter day for Tom. Paul got a dryer.
I know.
Now turn that thing on during the show because we love the sound of the shoes thumping inside it. Put your sneakers in there. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, I'll do that. But anyway, y'all have a good weekend, fellas.
You too, sir. Take care.
Great call.
We're done. We're done.
We
made it through.
That's it. We've covered all the bases.
Yeah.
Bad jokes, dad jokes, laundry room. It's all 30.
We can call it. We can call it a life now.
That's it.
All right. Well, we're coming up on the end of the program. A couple of little notes. One, if you have questions, now that the show's over, don't call us. Only call us on Saturdays at 855-935-TALK. If you have questions otherwise, go to TalkingRealMoney.com, speak them or send them in. TalkingRealMoney.com, click on Meet an Advisor.
The opinions and views expressed in this podcast were current on the date recorded. Opinions, estimates, forecasts, and statements of financial market trends that are based on current market conditions constitute our judgment and are subject to change without notice, including any forward-looking estimates or statements which are based on certain expectations and assumptions.
Although information and opinions given have been obtained from or based on sources believed to be reliable, no warranty or representation is made as to their correctness, completeness, or accuracy.
Information presented on the podcast is not personalized investment advice from Appellate Wealth. The views and strategies described may not be suitable for everyone. This podcast does not identify all the risks, direct or indirect, or other considerations which might be material to you when entering any financial transaction. Past performance does not guarantee future results, and profitable results cannot be guaranteed. We hope you realize that the information provided on Talking Real Money is for informational, educational, and hopefully enjoyable purposes only. The podcast is not trying to get you to buy or sell any financial products or securities. Instead, the program is provided as a public service by Appellate Wealth, a fee-only registered investment advisor.
Please see Appellate Wealth's ADV Part 2A on our website for information regarding Appellate's fees and services.
Appellate Capital, LLC, DBA Appellate Wealth, is an investment advisory firm registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. The firm only transacts business in the states where it is properly registered or excluded or exempt from registration requirements. Registration with the SEC or any state securities authority does not imply a certain level of skill or training. Appellate does not provide tax or legal advice, and nothing either stated or implied here should be inferred as providing such advice. Thanks for listening, and please visit TalkingRealMoney.com for more information and important disclosure related to performance of any specific index or fund quoted in this podcast. I think I need a nap.
That's the sound of the fully electric Audi Q6 e-tron and the quiet confidence of ultra-smooth handling. The elevated interior reminds you this is more than an EV. This is electric performance redefined.